The Seattle Seahawks won Super Bowl 60, beating the New England Patriots 29-13. Did last night's performance teach the Cardinals or the Eagles anything in constructing a Super Bowl winner?
There's also been a lot of coaching changes in Arizona and Philly this week. New names coming in, and an icon says his goodbye. Welcome to this week's episode of Birds Coast to Coast.
You're listening to Birds Coast to Coast. Here's your host, John Clark and Tanner Riddle.
I don't know if I have to do the Bob. I feel like I'm doing the Bob every time now. All right, anyway, guys. Yeah, welcome to Birds Coast to Coast. I don't know. I just wanted to tell you guys how I'm feeling with the intro. I feel it. I don't know. You guys have probably noticed it too. The weird Bob I do.
Nobody notices any of your weird things that you do. So
I don't know, the rocking back and forth. Okay. All right. I got off track. Okay, cool. So welcome, guys. Welcome to episode 5 of Birds Coast to Coast. We've had a really great time talking to you guys during this whole postseason, discussing the things that have been happening in the divisional round, conference round, and, of course, the Super Bowl, otherwise known as the big game, which, by the way, as a side note, my wonderful co-host Tanner here kind of brought it up to me that that's like a thing that, like, you know, the big game is kind of like how it's referred to. I can't not hear it now. So everywhere I hear it, I'm like, they do not use the word Super Bowl. Got it.
I would say it's like 50% of the time when I'm listening to like national guys who like have actual rules to follow, I hear the big game and I just don't understand why. Like, how does the NFL not have the rights to the term Super Bowl? That's insane to me. It's kind of like the Happy Birthday song.
You know what's even crazier? Like, I was listening to like an advertisement, and I've heard it for another one. They called I think, I don't know. Listen, I'm not a NASCAR fan. I don't care about NASCAR, but like I know like the Daytona 500 is like pretty soon because it's like right after or near the Super Bowl,
Yep.
and they referred to like something as the Great American Race, and I'm like, what are they talking about? And I'm like, oh, they're talking about the Daytona 500. They can't say it. I'm like, it's the same thing. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so that was off track, but I just wanted to bring up that because that was some eye-opening events that kind of went through. I never realized it until he said it. Okay, so Tanner and I have a list of going around the league a little around the NFL spinning, and we're gonna jump into what's been happening, and then kind of wrap up the Eagles and Cardinals side of it. So what's been happening, Tanner?
Well, let's take a look because there's quite a few different things and I can't remember it all off the top of my head. So let's go ahead and share this with everyone.
And for everyone, so a little bit of like inside baseball, we're going to share our screen. So, you're going to look at the sneak peek of what's happening behind closed doors here. All right. Cool.
Let's start off with some of the coaching hires around the league. There are 0 defensive coordinator hires, but we do have 3 openings now that Jim Schwartz resigned from the Cleveland Browns. So now we have the Browns, the Cardinals, and the Raiders all looking for defensive coordinators.
Interesting.
We did have 3 offensive coordinator hires. One we'll get more detail into. The New York Jets hired Frank Reich as their offensive coordinator. The Cardinals.
Wait, hold up.
Yeah.
Got a Frank Reich thing. All right.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. I saw this and I'm just going to say it. Has there ever been an offensive coordinator hire more streamlined to, hey, you're going to be interim head coach by like week 10?
Yeah, he's not the offensive coordinator. He's the future interim.
That's what he is. That is exactly what he is. Like, he's just going to take over when the Jets are like 2-8. He's going to get a couple wins. You know what I mean? And they're going, oh, Frank Reich for head coach. Listen, he was the Eagles offensive coordinator. Players love him. It's a slam dunk. Veteran
he
presence.
Always puts us in the best situation to succeed.
Dude, if there was some sort of, listen, I need to fire up, FanDuel or something and see like what kind of odds they got for like Frank Reich head coach by week 10. I gotta smash that, whatever it is. But no, sorry for interrupting. Just wanted to throw that out there. What else is going on?
And then the last OC hire was Press Taylor for the Chicago Bears. So a couple of Eagles ties.
Yeah. So Press Taylor was probably the I'm not gonna say the first offensive coordinator because I got pretty far into this thing pretty early when I was a kid, but I would say Press Taylor was probably the first offensive coordinator that I was like saying fire Press Taylor into just text thread after text thread after text thread. I mean, he really just torpedoed Doug Peterson's chances in Philadelphia. And yeah, 2020 was a pretty rough year for a lot of teams, but it was really bad for the Eagles. Injuries, poor coaching, Wentz's steep decline, and Press Taylor couldn't dig himself out of like a hole in any regard, and it just ended with Doug Peterson getting fired. Honestly, the reason why he got fired is because he walked into Jeffrey Lurie's office and Jeffrey Lurie said, "You need to make a change of your coaching staff," and he said no. And then he said, "All right, well, you're gone." So Doug and Press Taylor have a very, very unique relationship. They even followed each other to Jacksonville, and the same pattern happened. He went to Jacksonville.
Was he hired by Doug Peterson, or was he part of Chip Kelly's staff?
No, he was hired by Doug Peterson. And I also believe, I think he's Zach Taylor's brother. Just weird coincidence.
Okay.
Didn't know that. But yeah, he's Zach Taylor's brother. And honestly, that might be a reason why he gets, so many opportunities. I mean, the NFL head coaching, fraternity is all, good old boys. So, yeah. So, I mean, he gets opportunities because of that. And he went to Jacksonville. And after a couple of years of bad Trevor Lawrence play, Doug Peterson, he got fired from Jacksonville. And it was probably because of Press Taylor and his poor offense. So, look, Chicago Bears fans, I wouldn't freak out. I mean, Ben Johnson's still the mastermind, so Press Taylor doesn't have a lot of hands on the controls of this thing, but not the biggest recommendation coming from someone who's seen him for over 2 years. So just take that with a grain of salt.
And then no move on the lone general manager opening. Still, the timing of that is so weird. He was at the Senior Bowl doing his normal Senior Bowl duties and scouting. They part ways, and they said that they're actually not going to make a hire until after the draft.
No, what?
I mean,
how are you doing that?
Part of it, as crazy as it sounds, part of it, I guess, makes sense because you probably do already have a lot of your scouting and
yeah, I guess you don't want to gut your whole
prep already. You got probably a lot of prep already with this class. Obviously, there's still more to do, but this is probably going to really empower Kevin O'Connell as the head coach. So maybe he'll have a say in who the next GM is going to be. But personally, I'd rather have a GM leading into the draft process than not. The draft, free agency, all of that.
Who makes
especially if you're making how do you make a long-term commit? Whoever's in charge, you're going to sign someone to a 3-year deal. The next guy has to inherit that. So I don't know. That seems like a mess in Minnesota.
Seems like too many cooks. Someone's got to make that call. Who are they going to hand off that responsibility to actually make the draft pick? It's setting themselves up for a lot of awkward situations. In the near future, not even long term, soon.
It has to be the head coach, right? An owner's not going to do that. And so if it's not the head coach, is there a director of scouting? Do they make draft pick decisions? That doesn't make sense to me either. To me, my take is that this really empowers Kevin O'Connell. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. I really like Kevin O'Connell. He probably is a top 7-ish coach, in my opinion. But yeah, that's fascinating to me. I'm gonna watch how that process goes because I think it's gonna be real telling. And then just briefly, we mentioned Nathaniel Hackett was hired as the offensive coordinator. We have a departure in Philadelphia. Jeff Stoutland, the offensive line coach, from my perspective, kind of abruptly retired. I think, and again, as a non-professional Eagles fan, I feel like I heard there was some rumblings of some this head offensive coordinator search. It's kind of tricky because we got to get the right guy in to make sure it doesn't affect too much of the staff changes. And it seems like Stoutland was the change that was being hinted at.
Well, it's funny. We were talking about how the offensive coordinator search may be impacted by Jeff Stoutland's presence. I mean, Jeff Stoutland.
That's insane to me. Because if I was an OC candidate, I would say Jeff Stoutland is more of a staple than Jalen Hurts is. I'm being a little facetious, but a little not.
The way that I see it is Jeff Stoutland was given the title offensive run game coordinator and offensive line coach. And he's had it for quite some time. I mean, for those who don't know, Jeff Stoutland came into the Eagles organization in 2013 with Chip Kelly. So this man's been in the organization longer than, Howie Roseman, has made his second hurrah and became the legend that he is. So he's been around for a long time. I remember when we hired Jeff Stoutland. Again, this was a long time ago, back before instant social media. So, you were looking at things and be like, oh, look at that. That's interesting. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, Jeff Stoutland's one, because Chip Kelly gets hired and you're like, okay, what kind of staff is he going to bring in? Like who's the college coach going to bring in to fill out his offensive staff? And at the time, as they always are, Alabama was quite a good, roster and a good team. And a lot of their offensive linemen were getting drafted in the first round, highly touted prospects, but that's typical of an SEC powerhouse team. A lot of their, offensive linemen tend to go high. And I heard that Chip Kelly was bringing over the offensive line coach for Alabama, Jeff Stoutland. And I was like, whoa, like that seems like a good hire. Like it seems like he knows how to produce great talent and develop young talent into draftable studs. So he already came to me with like, he's like big into player development. And yeah, he was. So like he was legendary. I mean, he was an absolute icon in the city. For a town as divisive, and this as Philadelphia is, you could say Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni. You could say even like an icon like Chase Utley. You're going to find some guys who hate him and some guys who love him. So but who wasn't that? Jeff Stoutland. You cannot find one. You cannot find a person in Philadelphia who did not like Jeff Stoutland. So seeing him leave was shocking. But you're right. What you said about the whole coaching search, it impacted it. I mean, Nick Sirianni. Yeah.
You haven't said anything to convince me that that's not crazy. Like,
it is crazy.
It's one of those things. Have you ever met? There's that guy who's like everyone likes him, so it's like if you have a problem with him, you're the problem. Stoutland feels like that guy. If your philosophy and your staff can't handle a Stoutland, I really struggle with. Are you sure it's not you? Like, do you need to point the thumb, not the finger? Do we need to look in the mirror here?
There's a lot.
How can you look at he's produced so many Pro Bowls and All Pro linemen over a decade.
He turned Jordan Mailata from a 7th round rugby player on the other side of the planet into an All Pro left tackle, highest graded PFF left tackle in the league.
Do we credit Jason Kelce with him or
absolutely? Jason Kelce is absolutely a Jeff Stoutland. Like he was an Andy Reid on record and said Jeff Stoutland saved his career because Jason Kelce was drafted in like 07, 08. So when he came into the league, Jason Kelce was not always like top tier S tier center. He kind of fluctuated for a little bit. 6th rounder. And he started his second year or maybe late in his first year. But dude, there were years where they were saying, no, Kelce's falling off. Like we're not going to bring him back. Like he wasn't the legend that we all thought he was. He'd have good years, then he had bad years. And then Stoutland came in 2013 and that's when things changed. Like he became the legend that he is thanks to Jeff Stoutland. I was listening to a reporter and they said, I cover a lot of Eagles coaches and a lot of Eagles players. And there's only been one coach that when we bring up his name, the players actually cry about, and it's Jeff Stoutland. Like that, and that's the level we're talking about, shedded tears. So seeing,
I don't think people understand how important the positional coaches are. Like you don't spend your entire day with the head coach.
Or really,
sure, if you're the quarterback, and you're one of those play caller types. Yeah, I'm sure Ben Johnson spends a lot of time with Caleb Williams. But no, the offensive line's going to spend their time with the offensive line coach and the strength and conditioning coaches.
Absolutely.
So those are the relationships that are going to probably hit the hardest.
Yeah. See, I think what ended up happening was the run game in the beginning of the year last year was terrible. And Nick Sirianni, from I don't know what sense of arrogance or pride or ego he had, he went to Jeff Stoutland and said, hey, we are going to need to make some changes on the running game. And Jeff Stoutland, look, prideful man, he said he wasn't, or at least reportedly wasn't, as keen on making the changes that Nick was suggesting. So Nick just said, all right, well, you know what? Like we're just going to take over the run game from here on out. And to their credit, and there's been some people who've said that, the Eagles running game, from the point that reportedly the run game was shifted to Nick Sirianni, it did improve. Okay. But a lot of detractors say that it was against poor competition. I think it was like the Raiders and the Commanders. So, like, you know, are we really going to count those games as like, oh yeah, they got better because they got rid of him as the run game coordinator? And I think after that, and then the offensive coordinator change and Sean Mannion wanting to bring in a new staff, and, you know, with the Rams offensive scheme being a potentially different kind of run blocking scheme, Jeff Stoutland just said, look, I'm not going to change the way I coach. You know, I see you want to bring in a new offense. I think it's just better that I just kind of leave. And, you know, maybe like a pseudo retirement. And that's really all it took. And it's really sad that it was that, you know, quick and, you know, awkward. And yeah, we're going to have to deal with the ramifications of losing like a top 3 offensive line coach in the league. I don't really keep track of offensive line coaches, but I just don't want to say the best.
But he's not second or third.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't want to say like the best because I don't know all of them, but like as far as I'm concerned, he's the best. So like, yeah, it's gonna suck. And
well, more importantly, is this like
somewhere.
Is this like an official retirement, or
I don't think so.
Does he really like the sun?
I think he's gonna go somewhere. I think he's gonna go somewhere.
You do think so?
Absolutely. Okay. I think this is like he takes a few months off and he's like, you know, maybe I might want to join with someone real quick. Maybe as like a consultant, or maybe as like I don't know, maybe the full-time offensive line coach. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he went somewhere. But very disappointed. Very disappointed. Frankly, like
am I crazy to care about who the Cardinals like? Is it fair to say I don't care who they hire as a defensive coordinator if it meant bringing Stoutland in?
The change that Jeff Stoutland would bring to a team's offensive line, if you give them like a couple of years of development, because, you know, you just can't like change things instantaneously. I mean, even though it has happened, I mean, he made Mekhi Becton into a Pro Bowl level guard after being a bust at tackle. So, I mean, he can absolutely just snap his fingers and instantly.
Mekhi Becton also bad again this year?
Yes, he was injured a lot for the Chargers, but it wasn't necessarily his best year. So, yeah. I think he could make instantaneous changes to someone's. Like, if I was anybody right now, I would be like,
this is where it's so depressing being a Cardinals fan. Open up the wallet, man. Like, Arizona's not that bad of a place to live. The summers are a little toasty, but like during football season, it's the best. Ask him what he wants, and then add like 5% on top of that. Bring him in. You know, like, wouldn't he be a great pair with Mike LaFleur, like, coming in? Like, this is his first offensive head coaching gig. Like, what a great, like...
Well, I agree with you, but the Sean Mannion offensive scheme is supposed to be based on, like, the Rams. So, like...
and if he doesn't work... If it doesn't fit with Mannion, in theory,
it might not work with another Rams disciple. Like that's the thing.
Well, then who does the Sirianni?
Whatever that is, right? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. He's been in the system for so long. I don't know what another similar team would be like. You know, he would latch onto. Like, I don't know, the Chiefs. I don't know.
New Orleans, maybe.
Who knows? I don't. Again, he came right from college. It's not Jeff Stoutland. This isn't like Jeff Stoutland was in the league and then coached under a certain coach and then like branched off and went to the Eagles. No, he went straight from Bama. So it's not like he has like an NFL tree to come from.
Think of it that way.
Yeah, he's just.
I just assumed he would stay in the pros.
I'm assuming he stays in the pros, but who knows? I mean, he might just pull a Jim Schwartz and just take a year off and then come back next year. He's not like super old, so I mean, he absolutely could take some time off and come back next year. So yeah. Really disappointed. Honestly, this could end up costing like Nick Sirianni his job if it does not go well. I mean, a lot of people are thinking this is sink or swim for him, and I kind of agree at this point. Like, if these offensive coaches that are all really young don't pan out rather quickly, I don't know if they're like like, I don't think the Eagles are going to be like, 6-11 or whatever, but like maybe Howie gives them some leash because he knows these guys are younger coaches that they're bringing in. And like, you just don't want to like blow up the whole thing after like one off year when they're all learning on the job. So I don't know. Maybe they give them the experience to kind of grow, but we'll see.
I'm part of the very critical of Sirianni club, and I would say this is very critical for Sirianni because as part of this club, one of my criticisms is that he's very reliant on having great coordinators, and I guess you can make the argument either way. You can focus on the good ones, or you can focus on the bad ones. But we see what happens when he doesn't have coordinators that are going to be like top head coaching candidates, and the teams they just fall off. They completely crumble, and so you lose a staple like a Stoutland. I don't know. I have my concerns. I just it caught me off guard too. That's the other thing. This wasn't like something that we knew was like coming down the line. So I don't know. I'm pretty down on it.
Yeah, I'm disappointed as well. I mean, it's one of those things where they did hire. I don't know. He didn't really like. It didn't really like register on your like thing, but we did replace him today. We hired an offensive line coach.
Yes. Okay.
His name is Cooper, I think it, but it's spelled like Kupar.
Was he with
And
did I see it was the Falcons or the Vikings or who was he?
Vikings. He was the offensive line coach under Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings. His contract ran out, and they never reached out to extend him. Great sign.
That's a sign.
Great sign. And he's been hired by the Eagles. So we'll see. I mean, look, we've had 3 offensive line coaches since like 1999. So like he's jumping in. He's going to be the 4th. So I believe it was Howard. What was it? Not Howard Mudd. It was Howard Mudd, Juan Castillo, and then Jeff Stoutland. So we're gonna add an extra one. I'm just hoping he's decent because it's affecting it's really affecting like if the offensive linemen want to come back. Like I don't know if you heard about this, but like Landon Dickerson's like banged up and he's thinking about not wanting to play, and Lane Johnson is also considering not wanting to play. Apparently they like Jordan Mailata doesn't even want to talk about Jeff Stoutland. Like he gets teared up if someone mentions that he's like retired. So these guys, I'm telling you, they love him. Like it's like psychotic almost. And like when they said like, oh, he's not coming back, like a lot of guys, is Lane Johnson like gonna be like, screw it, like I'm out, like Lane, because that's his only offensive line.
To be fair, I did see a video of him working out. He was doing some kind of like squat exercise, and
he's a warrior, man. He's got like a whole like workout barn where like he brings in like offensive linemen and tight ends to work out in the off season. It's almost like a little like gym club he has. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't think he'd like to go out the way he did last year. But it's like teaching an old dog new tricks. Like, what's this whippersnapper going to come in and tell Lane Johnson? He's been coached by the best offensive line coach ever. He is a future Hall of Famer, a freak of nature, and this guy's going to come in and say, "Well, you should actually like with your kick out foot, you want to make sure it's a little further out." And he's like, "Dude, get out of here."
Right.
So have fun navigating that offensive line room. So I think that's pretty fair to kind of wrap that up. But tell me about your guy, Nate Hackett.
I thought it was a joke when it was announced. I heard the name floated around the day before, and I completely brushed it off. His tenure in Denver was so bad that they didn't even let him finish his first year. Every now and then you see coaches who get fired after 1 year. And there's always a discussion of like, did you give someone enough time? Like, how could you ever make a decision like that? They didn't even let him finish the season.
Was that the Russell Wilson year?
Yes, that was the year that it seemed like they hired him solely because they wanted to convince Aaron Rodgers to come to Denver. And they ended up trading for the other veteran, Russell Wilson. So yeah, that was a complete disaster, his tenure. But to be fair, we're not hiring him as the head coach. We're not even hiring him as the offensive play caller. He's an offensive coordinator, pretty much in name only. Mike LaFleur did confirm he is like he himself will call the plays. Uh, Look, I mean, I was probably looking for someone else, honestly. It didn't really seem necessary. The What I will say is like the ties that he has from Green Bay working with his older brother Matt LaFleur. Um, I assume it came as a recommendation, like, hey, you know, here's an opportunity. You can keep your OC title. Work with my brother. You know how we are. And I know how you are. I know what kind of um, like influence you are with in my room. Um, so I posted on our TikTok that whatever you think the impact's going to be, good or bad, because he's not calling plays, it's going to be relatively minimal. So I don't want to focus too much on it. If it gives Mike LaFleur some comfort, since he is a first time head coach, sure, I don't want to say I support it, but like I'm not gonna harp too much on it. But I'd be lying if I said that is a guy that I was looking at. Oh, hey, he'd be a great fit. Also, this is his fifth different OC role in the NFL. He's gotten five different teams to
Dude,
say like we are like. Doesn't that
it's
seem like
that
a lot?
fraternity. It's that fraternity.
It's a fraternity.
You
Yeah.
just keep getting opportunities. They know people. It's just people. Hey, let's go hire Nate.
Also, I did think like one of my first thoughts was, are we going to be in the Aaron Rodgers like free agent sweepstakes? Like,
Oh, he wouldn't look good in red.
mm-mm.
I don't know. He doesn't. He wouldn't look good in anything. I'm really tired of him, honestly, being around.
Honestly, some of the most iconic games have been against the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Um, the first one I think of is
Chip in.
in 2015, the divisional playoff game. Remember the two separate Hail Marys? They got like
Oh yeah,
fourth and
Jeff
20, and Cardinals won that game. Then the other one I think of is it was the wild card game in 2010.
Was that like
The game was in
walk-off
2010. It was the
fumble
2009
return?
season. It was the highest scoring playoff game in NFL history that ends on a fumble for a touchdown by
Yes,
the
I do
defense in
remember that game.
overtime by the Dirty Bird Carlos Dansby.
Oh God, what a team!
Right. Oh yeah, that was fun. That was Kurt Warner. He actually, that was the game he had more passing touchdowns and incompletions. Like that would have been a fun game to go to. So yeah, we've had some awesome. And then a couple years ago, I think it was 21. The Thursday night, we were 7-0, and they were coming to town at 6-1, and that was the AJ Green didn't turn around game. And
Rasul
so
Douglas picked it off. Yeah, it was Rasul.
Yeah, Rasul Douglas.
Yep,
After we cut, like, I don't know if you remember, they had just signed him after we cut him. So that little extra salt to that. So no, there's been some great matchups with Aaron Rodgers in Arizona. We came in on top on two of those at least. But no, that'd be hard to see him in Arizona red. Doesn't really seem to make sense for the timeline that we're. Honestly, I don't know what kind of timeline we're on. When you got a coach and a GM on different schedules, I don't know, man. That seems like it's gonna be a disaster.
What do you mean by that? Like, what? Elaborate when you say a coach and a GM is on different schedules. What does that mean?
So Mike LaFleur, he just signed, I believe it's a 5-year contract. It's like a 4-year contract with a 5th-year option on the team side. Does he have to like make the playoffs in year one? I don't think so. I don't think that's a realistic expectation for this team, for him coming in. He's not taking over a ready-made team. So I think he's going to have some leash to honestly just focus on a culture and focus on getting guys in the building that fit the message that he has. But Monty Ossenfort is 15-35 since becoming the GM here, and is yet to draft a Pro Bowler. I don't know he can afford a 3 or 4 win season and keep his job. A lot of people actually believe that he should have gone with Jonathan Gannon as well, and it's just easier to have a coach and a general manager on the same schedule. Mm-hmm. So is Monty Ossenfort going to sign guys that are more win now, short-term minded, that don't necessarily line up with, hey, we're in this for the long haul. We're not going to get our quarterback this year. We're gonna just build the team the best we can, and we're gonna get our quarterback in next year's draft. Or is he going to sign a guy like an Aaron Rodgers, or maybe overpay a Malik Willis after a very small sample size because he needs to win 8 games this year to keep his job? Sometimes what's best for the team isn't what's best to keep your job. And I'm afraid those might be two different avenues. And that's what makes me nervous.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what happened with New York. I mean, Brian Dable was coaching his butt off trying to win those games and almost got Jackson Dart killed. So, I mean,
But
he
to
got
save
like,
his job, it probably was worth. Like, obviously, he got fired, but
yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
so like that's what I'm saying. Like when you have people on two different schedules, you want to do different decisions. I mean, Jackson Dart was running QB powers, and I mean, he runs like reckless abandon. He's getting concussions every week. So, but that's what he has to do to try to save his job.
do you start trading like first round picks because you need a guy now? Because the thought process is, well, shoot, if I don't win, I'm not making, like, why would I hold on to these picks? I'm going to get fired and not make them anyways. And that's what's concerning. I know 15 and 35, that's brutal. That's a lot of losing in 3 years. No one wants to give a guy 2 opportunities to rebuild when you never really won even once. Like, it's one thing if you got this long track record and you got maybe a lot of playoff appearances, maybe even a Super Bowl, and so you've earned the trust to do another rebuild. All we've done is rebuild under Monty, and so yeah, I think there's a lot of skepticism. Is why would we give him that chance again? But then he can't afford to do that either. So no, I don't like the timeline. I do like a lot of the moves Monty Austin made. I do like the drafts. Where I'm more critical of him is in free agency. I feel like he just sits on his hands and doesn't really do much. Uh, I think he just focuses too much on just quantity over quality, and so
You
I
got
don't know.
Josh
Like,
Sweat. Oh, come on,
I do
he
like
got
no,
Josh
okay,
Sweat.
no. Oh, okay, sure. You want to bring up Josh Sweat? That's fine. That's one move in 3 years, but going before last year, like, do we really know any significant like moves that he's made in free agency? In 2024, I was really geeked up to make some splashes. The one name I really focused on was Daniil Hunter, and I'm not even sure we were in that sweepstakes, which is a shame because I think he's been a great player since. Um, we didn't do like when I'm thinking we're gonna go like big fish hunting, like we got nothing, and so that I actually support a lot of his draft picks and strategies, not all of them, but where my criticism of him is in the free agency pool, and we'll just have to see. You know, he'll definitely get this year to make a splash if he wants, but that's where I'm like, I don't know if I want to make a splash. I think I want to just focus our resources for next year.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's not really the fun thing to say, but
No, I know what you're talking about. Sometimes you just have to have those years where you're just kind of biding your time, getting resources. And I mean, I like Monty. I've always thought like his videos of him on draft day. I mean, he seems to know what he's doing, and he seems to be like a really shrewd negotiator and seems to get good trade value. So I mean, I
when
like
it
that.
came to his, when it came to his first draft, he had a plan. He knew what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was pretty evident that he wanted to draft Paris Johnson, and he was willing to do it at number 3. But he turned Paris Johnson into Paris Johnson and an additional first round pick.
Yeah,
And we can talk about who that first round pick was spent on, but the process was there, and it was exciting to see someone who had a plan and seemed to execute it to perfection.
who was
And
that first round pick spent on Tanner?
if he was good, you would know. Darius Robinson.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Personally, I had a couple other guys in mind. One of them being Cooper DeJean.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him.
Well, remember that pick was at 27 in the first round. That was the Texans' first round pick. So I was very high on Cooper DeJean. I also wanted we took 4 players in the 3rd round that year, and there were a handful of guys that I liked that I thought would be in that 20 to 25 range that we might not quite be able to get up for. But we took 4 third rounders. Throw one of them their way, and move up and go get someone better. Like, I heard leading up in that process, we really like Darius Robinson, but I don't want to. We'll save some of that draft talk for later because we got a long off season to get into more details. There was two more items I wanted to mention that happened. One of them was Jim Schwartz resigned as the defensive coordinator for the Browns. That actually could be relevant to this podcast because
Very
one,
much.
outside of the Browns, given that I'm assuming he's not returning, there's only two defensive coordinator openings right now. One being in Arizona and the other being in Las Vegas. I don't remember a team ever trading for a coordinator, but typically I wouldn't think you'd want to. If you had to choose, you'd rather trade outside of your conference. So I don't know if the Browns would actually trade with the Raiders. So I don't know. I mean, I would love Jim Schwartz to join our staff, but it also makes a lot of sense though too. If Vic Fangio is year to year.
Oh, I was about to say, I'm already penciling him in as the defensive coordinator next year.
And if we didn't even if we really had to drag Vic Fangio to coach again this year, wouldn't it make a lot of sense for Jim Schwartz to just sit out a year?
Howie Roseman hasn't already talked to Jim Schwartz about this.
He has experience in Philadelphia.
He has a Super Bowl ring in Philadelphia. He is going to be the Eagles defensive coordinator in 2027. Hey, we're going to be doing these pods in 2027. So like we can say it now or later. He's going to be the defensive coordinator. First. Oh, yeah, absolutely. He is going to be the Eagles defensive coordinator. Fangio's going to leave. Don't know how the season's going to go, but he's going to leave. And Schwartz will come back. It's great. It'll be great.
Because he resigned, there's still some weirdness that the Browns own his rights. And so I would assume compensation has to be kicked his way.
Wow.
I mean, Bruce Arians was traded for I think it was a conditional 6th-round pick from the Buccaneers.
Okay.
So like but then Sean Payton went for a first plus. And so, obviously the compensation can vary, but I can't imagine it being that much for a defensive coordinator.
Do you think that this is the thing that annoys Myles Garrett enough to, kick the tires on a Myles Garrett trade? Maybe come first, 31st.
Absolutely not. I think when we get into our free agent and our off-season stuff, we're going to learn that the Eagles don't have a lot of space. They need those picks.
No, not at all. Not in my brain.
Well, I know. Not in your brain.
I'm fine to do it. But anyway, we'll save that for later. But hey, just Jim Schwartz is gone. Maybe Myles Garrett won't be as keen on staying. So never know. So
and the last thing I want to mention.
Oh yeah.
You were ready to go right past it. This is all I got. So the Hall of Fame class was announced.
Oh.
And first ballot Hall of Famer Larry Fitzgerald.
The old man still got it. Old man still got it. Time.
I think if he needed to give us a couple snaps still, I think he could.
Time.
He's the first ballot Hall of Famer, so like it's not that far removed.
Long time Tanner and John fans would know that this is a long-standing feud between us. Would you like to tell that story where the old man still got it? Where did that come from?
I want to say it was 2014.
Yeah,
I think both of our teams were like.
Where were we, Tanner?
5-1.
Where were we at?
We were in Greenville. We were in college. We were at the Landing.
That's right.
We don't live there now, so it's not doxing, I guess. And so our teams are looking good. I think we're both 5-1 at this point. And so we're both excited. We both have coaches in year 2. We both hired our coaches in 2013. So, we're feeling pretty good about our teams. And I believe you made a comment about Fitz being a little old and, he's lost it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, come on, man. Like, not that, like, Fitz has never been a burner. So, like, this idea that he lost it, like, you can't lose something you never really had. Obviously, he's a physical freak, but, like, I don't know. I guess I went straight to speed when you say you've lost it. So I was like, okay, like, you're a hater, you're just a classic, like, I got the big fan base team, so that's what we talk about. No one talks about the Cardinals, so Fitz will never get his love.
Absolutely.
And I want to say, was it in the second or third quarter? And we receive the ball, touchback, we get it at the 20, and Fitz takes a slant 80 yards, and then just
Right
leaves
by Nate Allen,
him
Nathaniel
in the
Allen.
dust. And then the
Oh,
announcer, the local announcer guy, Dave Pash for the Cardinals, I felt like he was speaking to us.
yeah, he
Says
was.
the old man has still got it.
Oh,
And it was
easily.
as
Oh,
if he was a part of our conversation.
he knew exactly what we were saying the week leading up. He knew it, and it was like a dagger into my heart. Like seeing that slow SOB now run right by our second round safety, and he bit like a chump on like some, I don't even know if it was a double move or what have you. It just looked like a simple slant, but dude
I think it was a
fell.
pretty routine slant.
Dude looked like he just got his ankles broke by. You want to know why I'm salty about Larry Fitzgerald? Because I had to see the early internet days of Eagles interested in trading for a big receiver. Larry Fitzgerald
Yep.
might be a trade target. It was year after year after year, and then they beat us in the championship game, and then another year after year after year. So I was like, you know what? Hands up, we're never getting Larry Fitzgerald. So was I a spurned lover of Larry Fitzgerald? Yes, I was. So yeah, I think that little issue I had with him was mainly caused by that. So that was fun. But anyway, yeah, back to his career. Yeah, he deserves it. I mean, he's first ballot. I mean, I would say maybe even top 5 receiver of all time discussion.
I'm not sure anyone doubted he was a Hall of Famer, but I don't know. Like, there's actually, I think he's only the 8th wide receiver ever inducted first ballot. Like, it's a very
Wow.
small list. So I think the question was just, and this is a week after both Belichick and Kraft, neither got in. And so what I thought was a gimme was like, I mean, he should
Maybe.
be. Like, no one accused him of cheating. I mean, they didn't win enough. So, I mean, I think they got it right. But no, he's in a special class. You know how it is with, hey, once you're in, you're in. But sometimes there's a little extra shine when you get it on your first try. There's some guys who didn't get in on their first try, and Fitz, I mean, he played a while. He got a lot of, I don't want to call him counting stats because that sounds like it's going to diminish it, but I think he's second in career catches, second in, like, he's up there with some of the biggest statistical, areas where, I mean, I think another part about is there was a pretty fair stretch where he was seen as arguably the best receiver of his time.
Oh yeah, and like the counting stats thing, like it wasn't just like he had a lot of catches, like, or he was a spam target. Like he was known for his impeccable hands. Like he would not drop anything. So I don't think the catches would be diminished as like, look at all these catches, he clearly got spammed. It's like, no, he
Have
had
you
a lot of
seen
catches.
the quarterbacks that he caught
Yeah,
passes from?
exactly. Like he
It's
caught
like
passes.
a CVS receipt. Like,
Exactly.
it's insane.
Like he was known for going up and getting jump balls. He was known for snatching the ball off the ground and continue running in stride. Like that's what he was known for.
Look at
So
the
like,
best receivers, and this isn't. I think they're great, but look at the best receivers ever, and then look at their quarterbacks. It's not the same.
oh, absolutely. You could go down the list and be like, that might be the best receiver versus their poor quarterback play as a whole. Like that might be the biggest, I guess. What would you call like like unbalancedness to that equation that you could find in any of the receivers to quarterback ratio, like almost like a quarterback to receiver ratio. Like I feel like it's slanted heavy
Right.
towards Larry Fitzgerald is what he had to put up. I guess the only other quarterback I can think of is like Andre Johnson. Maybe would be in that ballpark.
Andre is, no. I would absolutely put Andre Johnson in
Because I
that
can't think of
category.
any Texans.
He didn't play as long, so he's not going to have the same numbers. I will say, I mean, Matt Schaub was Matt Schaub would put up numbers. Like he wasn't completely incompetent.
But wasn't Andre Johnson kind of already Andre Johnson before Matt Schaub got
Probably.
there?
Hey,
think
I'm
he
not
was.
trying to I'm not trying to dog Andre Johnson. I think that is a super fair comparison.
Oh, absolutely. And you're a huge Miami fan. Did you go to Miami? He went to Miami, right?
Yeah, he went to
There
Miami.
you go. There you go. That's right. I was like, I knew that would help. I knew that'd be like, yeah, he'll like this one, Andre Johnson.
Oh, okay. No wonder I'm so. No wonder I
He'd
like
butter
him.
you up with it, one of your guys.
Yeah, but
Um,
statistically, over a career, like it's not comparable.
yeah.
My favorite Larry Fitzgerald stat: he has more career tackles than drop passes.
Oh, I knew that one, dude. That's a throwback. That's a
That
throwback
is
stat.
insane. Like, think about what that means.
A lot of
Like,
bad quarterbacks.
that means a lot of bad quarterbacks trying. I would assume if you're making the tackle, you're somewhat close to the ball, so like they're trying to throw it to you, and they just hit the other guy. But like the volume of targets he gets, he's gonna he's gonna have some drops. Like, to have zero is insane. I mean, he was second in total catches, but
Mhm.
like, how sure of hands you have to have more tackles. I mean, that's a lot. That's just a lot of interceptions.
It's a ton of interceptions, and it's crazy to think because like, what would his drop rate be? Like 0.4 like percent?
What?
Like, oh my god,
Shoot, I feel like I've seen it before.
that's probably real
It,
low.
I mean, he's got pillows for hands, so there's no one I trust more. With anything valuable, like than Larry Fitzgerald.
So I guess it
But
calls into question, like, Larry Fitzgerald's getting in, like, I mean, do you think guys that are in that same era that are like comparable to him are going to be, also first ballot? Like, are we looking at guys like Steve Smith? Are we looking at guys like Antonio Brown?
Steve
Are we
Smith
looking
has
at
not
these?
been. He's been eligible.
Oh, so he's been eligible and he hasn't gotten
You know,
in?
Steve Smith statistically is like he's got some like top 10 stuff. Like, you would think he'd be in.
I really like Steve
That's
Smith.
the thing, but like my point is, you just assumed he just hasn't been eligible yet, and like, hey, will he get in?
Well, it speaks to the thing you said. Like,
That's
it's
why it makes
crazy.
that's why it makes it so special, because
It's not as easy as you think to get in.
it's not as easy. And like, Steve Smith's not a bad guy. I understand Fitz is like on the pedestal of like what we want, our
Character
kids and
guy.
stuff to look
Yeah.
up to. Was Steve Smith a bad guy?
No, he's a good guy.
I thought he was funny.
Fiery.
Yeah, he's fiery. I don't make you
Yeah.
a bad guy.
No.
Like, he's hilarious. I mean, Ice Up Son, like, that's awesome.
Did he punch a teammate?
He probably deserved it. No.
He did. I remember that in camp a couple years after. But,
Okay, but
yeah.
why? Honestly, I don't remember that. And where's that? If you think about
What
the people who vote
punch?
on this stuff,
He didn't punch no
like,
guy.
like, you think about the media members and stuff that vote on this stuff, and like, come on, he's in the media. He's on
No, he's
NFL
one of the
Network.
media guys. All right, so speaking of, I guess, media and turning our attentions, should we go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, the big game, the Super Bowl, the bowl that is super? Yeah, let's talk about it. All right, so I watched the game as we all did, and I was so bored. I was so bored. Like, and I was thinking about like, oh, what can I say for the pod? And I was like, I'm gonna lead off with it was just boring. Like, like for as little juice as that game had, it produced as much juice as I thought it would. like maybe like the game wasn't gonna be hyped up, but maybe it'd be a good game. No, it wasn't hyped up, and it kind of was flat for like. I was gonna say all of it. I'm not gonna say most of it. All of it. It was very flat for most of the game. What did you think?
I'm hearing a lot of people say that this is one of the best defenses of all time, and I think they're great. I really do. But I don't know if I can go quite that far.
Drake Mays
And my point is,
was playing poorly for most of the postseason.
Is it seem crazy that we saw 2 14-win teams? Did it feel like we got 14-win caliber teams?
No,
matched
it really
up?
didn't.
This
the
should
Patriots,
be
no,
an
you're right.
all-time like this is the best that we've got to offer type of matchups, given the team's records.
You could have, and I was telling this to someone today, you could have plucked that Super Bowl out of the 1 o'clock slot of a Week 13 game, and I would have been like, all right, cool game. like that's how that game
Right.
played out. Like it was just
Imagine you have like a Eagles Cowboys game that was initially slotted for Sunday Night Football, and they said, "Nope, we're 2 weeks in advance. We're gonna flex the Seahawks Patriots into the Sunday night slot. We're taking out the 8-3
that's a
Eagles
good way to put it.
the 4-7 Cowboys.
I don't
And
know if
they
ratings would like that.
all hell would break loose because
You're so
nobody wants to
right.
watch that.
Oh my god, that's so accurate. Like, yeah, it would be like, wait a second, okay, yeah, they're good, but all right, I don't want to watch them. Like, no one wants to watch them right now.
Right, I want to see who comes in second in the NFC East.
I mean, it really looked like, and Sam Darnold gets his roses and his flowers, but like he looked like the moment was too big for him too for at least 2 quarters. Like I felt as though until Kenneth Walker
throws. Like I thought both of the first 2 throws were going to get sixed.
Oh, absolutely. And then he like missed JSN on that scramble drill where he broke free and was like going to take it to the house if he like it was not just Drake May in the beginning. I think a lot of people are saying Drake May had a historic. If you look at the first 2 quarters of that game, I mean, I was like trying to figure out like who was playing better. Like, I mean, they really weren't doing like the only thing that was a difference is that Seattle had a better running game. Like, and they started leaning on it, and then they started hitting it with hard play actions that were open, and that was basically it. Like the only thing that was different was like Drake May had no running game to lean on, and for a second year player, the lights obviously looked too big for him. And then you take away his running game because the Seattle defensive front was like shutting it down, and now all of a sudden, look, hey kid, we're not doing too great. Well, guess what? You're gonna have to lead us to a comeback. So like that's the compounded things made it worse.
Yeah, I mean, so halftime it was 9-0. But like, remember right before the half, like, Christian Gonzalez made an awesome play. He almost picked it off. Could you imagine, like,
goal line.
I think your point is like, yeah, Drake May did not look good, but Sam Darnold wasn't really that much better. And we almost like, let's just say he got that interception, they would have been down at half 6-0, and the Patriots would have had a chance on the first drive to score a touchdown, take the lead. Like, they didn't really pull away until later in the game.
No, it was not impressive. No, it was not impressive. I was not impressed by either team. And you know what? I was debating on even bringing this up. There've been a lot of people on Twitter saying which defense is better, the 2024 Eagles or 2025 Seahawks? And a lot of people are like 2025 Seahawks easily. And listen, I don't want to be that guy to be like to be mad at Twitter, but there's a difference between rattling Drake May and rattling Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And even on top of that, I even saw a stat where it said, well, defensive DVOA says that the Seahawks, did better. But then it says like, no, the defensive DVOA, it says like the Seahawks were like right under the Eagles. And they said, but if you take out the fourth quarter, they were higher than the Eagles in DVOA. And I was like, well, what if you take out the fourth quarter of the Eagles Chiefs game? Like the Chiefs also did what the Patriots did. They fluffed up the game. It was like 40-6 at one point. So like, yeah, like you can take out the fourth quarter of the Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl. And yeah. And you know what it was? It was like way higher than the Seahawks. So so even if you take away the third quarter or the fourth quarters of both teams, it was a much better performance from the Eagles, in my opinion. Now, listen, I think the Seahawks have a great defense. I just think the Patriots offense wasn't necessarily something to be like, stymied or worried about. It's like, they look like crap. Like Drake May was absolutely flustered the entire game. That's what I saw.
It's an interesting question trying to compare the two teams. There are some similarities between last year's Chiefs and this year's Patriots. Remember, the Chiefs were 15-2 last year, and nobody believed in them. They had just won back-to-back Super Bowls, and they're winning these fluky games, random fumbles, and people were like, okay, do this 1,000 times. They ain't working that many. Like,
Yep.
you're not winning 15 games. There's a lot of luck involved. And so, there was a lot of luck in the Patriots having the easiest strength of schedule in a quarter century. So, 15 wins last year, 14 wins this year. I do think these last two Super Bowl losers were probably fluffed up a little bit by their record didn't really reflect how good they were. But one team had, a 3-time Super Bowl winning quarterback and coach, winning the last 2. The other team had a second-year quarterback who only started the full year this year. He wasn't the starter going into last year.
Oh, that's
They had 2 rookies, on the left side of their offensive line. It's not apples to apples.
It's not. It's really not.
To your point, what the Eagles did to the Chiefs last year was way more impressive than what the Seahawks did. But it's not the Seahawks' fault.
No,
I do think Seattle's a great team.
I think so too.
I looking back at I was so right and so wrong on the Seahawks coming into this year. Going into this year, I said, man, I really like this roster. There's just 2 things I don't like about them, and they're very important. I didn't like their offensive line. They were not good last year, and I thought just a single first-round guard wasn't really going to make them great. Yeah. And I didn't trust Sam Darnold. I like Darnold, but at the end of the day, is he the guy who's going to put you over the top? And I nailed the assessment on the roster. That roster is awesome. That defense is fast. They got some pieces on offense that I like.
Dude, we called the Nick Emenworry pick immediately. We were like, oh, Nick Emenworry is going to be amazing in Seattle, and he was. I wanted him so bad.
I'm looking around the NFL, and I'm like, guys, do we have to pick everyone? He was Cam Chancellor. Chancellor.
It was let Cam Chancellor go right back to Seattle.
The Cardinals can't take everybody. They don't take anybody, really.
You know what hurt? We took a second-round safety. So it's so it's like, oh, how he really wanted him, he could have went up and got Emenworry.
So my assessment on the roster itself, I nailed that. They have a really good roster. I completely whiffed on the offensive line Sam Darnold assessment.
Look, they were unsure about Sam Darnold. They drafted Jalen Milroe, who's not nothing. That he was, a considerable high-rising draft player who, people were considering, that could potentially take over. It was a fun
player for them to take because everyone's like, hey, he's the most athletic quarterback.
They weren't even sure.
Play Darnold all year. We're not going to force it, but if we can let Milroe develop, that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. That was literally just supposed to be a stopgap year.
The Seahawks get credit for believing in Darnold. But let's not excuse everyone else who also said no. The Raiders said, not only that, we'll pay Geno Smith more and trade a 3rd-round pick for him.
Wow.
The Steelers said, you know what? Give me Rodgers. The Jets said, Justin Fields,
come on down.
You don't have to throw as a quarterback. The Vikings, they said, you know what? This J.J. McCarthy guy, we spent a 1st-round pick. The Colts,
Daniel Jones.
To be fair, Daniel Jones was looking pretty good. You shouldn't be punished because he tore his Achilles or whatever.
He was right up there with Sam Darnold for comeback player.
He was in MVP conversation, so that's fair. But everyone missed. Shoot, the Seahawks missed because they should have paid him more. A lot of people missed here, and so misery loves company. So can't take too much flack, I guess, because everyone missed.
I want to take a quick victory lap on Kenneth Walker. I was
a hater. I was
so early on in the Kenneth Walker hype train. I said he'd be the next Adrian Peterson. I was proven right last night.
He looks like a small Adrian Peterson.
he runs, and then people were saying like a lot of Le'Veon Bell comparisons last night from Chris Collinsworth.
Okay, because there was like 2 plays where he kind of just like stopped and like waited for the.
And you know what's so funny? I love that because you can just do like a slow mo on the replay. Like, look at him take his time on this run. It's like, dude, you're slowing down the play. Look at him. Look at he's really patient behind that line. He's not even moving. It's like, yeah, he paused it.
That's what they would say if I got a handoff. Wow, look how patient Tanner is.
Look how patient he is, man. He's taking his time getting through the holes. No, but it is cool to see him kind of. Well, it puts him in a really weird spot now because like, are you gonna let the Super Bowl MVP walk out the door? Like what? Like if he didn't win MVP,
Are you talking about the Vikings?
No, not the Vikings. I'm talking about the
I'm sorry. We were talking. Yeah.
Yeah. The Seahawks. Walker won MVP. So I mean, are they gonna up their price? I mean, is this gonna be something where like they overpay to keep Kenneth Walker?
Well, they gotta. This is why I love the offseason. They gotta pay some guys. They gotta pay JSN, right? The Offensive Player of the Year. They gotta pay Devon Witherspoon, who he could have been
MVP,
a defensive Super Bowl MVP.
Apparently, they counted that as an interception, not a fumble, which took away a sack fumble.
It never hit the ground. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter, but like, it is interesting. It had all of the like feels of a fumble.
Well, no, I mean, technically, if this hand wasn't going forward, it would have been a sack fumble. It doesn't matter if the guy caught it in the air. It's just a fumble recovered out of the air. Like the ball's going backwards, it's a fumble, not a pass. So it would have been a sack. They just ruled it a pick.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you took away a sack from him. Is what you're
exactly.
saying.
Like you could argue.
I mean, I don't know if he was a sack away from winning the award.
No, I you know what? Honestly, I don't think the voters would have like held that against him.
But he would have been worthy. I guess is the point. So yeah, they got to make decisions on those 2 guys because they took them both in the first round in 23. So they got to make a decision on Kenneth Walker, K9, awesome nickname. So yeah, I mean, they're not like scot-free here. Like they got to make some decisions, but yeah, that would be kind of tough. I mean, Josh Sweat, he should have won MVP last year.
You let him walk.
But you let him walk. So it's a running back. You know how they are running back by committee in Seattle. They'll always take guys in the second. They'll take a guy in the second round this year, no matter what they do. So is it the craziest thing that they do let him walk? Like, I don't think so.
Oh, all right, cool. You can come.
I saw the question. Should the Seahawks make Kenneth Walker the highest paid running back in the league? I'm like, do you understand the extension that Saquon Barkley got? Like, you got $20 million. Like,
yeah,
you got to pay JSN. Micah Parsons got $47 million a year. And you know what these guys always say? Like, nope, I'm the highest paid non-quarterback. That's my number. And the new number is 47.
Listen,
you really want to pay a running back 20?
As an Ashton Genty dynasty owner, I'm very excited for him to be paired up with the guy who just had Kenneth Walker run for like 28 carries in the Super Bowl. So very excited to see what that'll do, because it does feel like from a lot of Seahawk fans that Zach Charbonnet going down really like unlocked Kenneth Walker. Like,
what if it happened in week 5 though? You think it's easier to unlock Kenneth Walker when it's in the playoffs?
Well, yeah, his legs are fresher. I mean, if they split carries,
you're like, okay, I'm not asking you to do this for another 10 games. I'm asking you to do this for 3.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they might just say, hey, we need you to do this for a short period of time before the offseason, and then, we'll retool it for later.
If this happens in week 5, they sign someone.
Yeah.
They trade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's just my counter to that idea.
Or they truly believe that the 2-back system is important and they make that change immediately and say, hey, dude, like, next guy up, like, you're going to be splitting with Kenneth Walker for half the carries. That must mean they really either like Kenneth Walker or they really like Zach Charbonnet, and they don't think the guy behind Zach Charbonnet is like worth splitting carries with or with Kenneth Walker with. So a lot of people didn't like Zach Charbonnet. a lot of people thought he was like a bell cow type, like, 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
To me, it was, again, who am I to criticize, Seattle, but like, it was always just process. Like, why do we keep taking guys in the second round? Like, commit to someone.
Yeah.
Those are valuable picks.
I mean, it was frustrating watching them take these running backs year out because like you see these guys, and you're like, oh, like that's gonna be good fantasy players, and you're like, oh, they went to the Seahawks, great, just another 3 running back system. Can't wait for them to get 8 carries, fun. So
Right.
yeah, but they're gonna have a new offensive coordinator, so maybe all that will change. So I mean, it's not like the head coach is gonna have anything to do with the offense. He's the defensive coordinator, basically, who calls plays. So that's another thing. Clint Kubiak leaves, defensive-minded head coach. Their offensive coordinator hire is going to be very important, like because it's going to basically determine how that entire offense looks. Like, and when you have a guy who's as good as Clint Kubiak leaving,
Jeff Stoutland.
oh no, he doesn't want to be an offensive coordinator. I don't think that's how that works. But I mean, that's going to be very interesting to see. And you know what? Coming from the Super Bowl coordinator, the Super Bowl winning team from last year, it sucks having your coordinator leave right after the Super Bowl. Your talent pool to draw from is like a puddle. So like have
I will
fun.
say though, when your guy's going, it's not like they just found out this morning.
It was back and forth with Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore was kind of like, I don't know if it was as like set in stone as Gannon, but like there was a lot of like, yeah, he might be going to New Orleans after, like right afterwards, because again the game was in New Orleans. Why does this keep happening? But yeah, so that's going to be really tough for them to replace Clint Kubiak, and it might mess up the thing because like look, JSN was like a screen guy for like his first couple of years. Like he wasn't going deep, so I mean they could totally like pick the wrong guy, and this whole thing just craters next year. So like we'll see who they pick. It really does matter. I think that offense, it really does matter who their guys are. Like I like JSN, but is he like a physical freak? Not really. So I really do think like scheme and route running and positioning really do matter with and if Kenneth Walker's leaving, another guy who's like just physically like skilled, I don't know. I could see a little bit of regression, but that's a little bit of too much down the line. So I don't know. Well, should we talk about our pod parlay, how that went before we?
Yeah, that sounds like it went as well as most people. A lot
Well,
of people took.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say a lot of people, from what I heard, the public did very well on the over-unders. A lot of people nailed the unders.
Oh, good.
Where the public really struggled was with like the prop bets.
Interesting.
And so, and apparently that JSN over was very popular.
Oh, I'd imagine. I mean, when you have like the offensive player of the year title, and you just have 2 weeks to sit on it, yeah, that's going to be a very popular pick. But what they didn't expect was Christian Gonzalez. Christian Gonzalez was all over JSN all night long.
I remember seeing they're like, after the first series, people were like, "Nope, he's following him." Like,
yeah, that's what I said. I started looking at our pod. For those who don't remember, the pod parlay was JSN over 6.5 catches, Stephon Diggs under 4.5 catches, and then the 2 quarterback unders and yardage totals, which was like 230 and 222 or something like that. So very very modest numbers. But man, when JSN had like, I saw like a graphic, it was like 8 targets and 2 catches. I was like, oh, he's screwed. Like, and then and then he went in for a concussion. It just wasn't happening. But what's funny is like, we nailed those quarterback unders. It's just Drake May had like a legendary stat pad fourth quarter to the point to where like he actually did go over the 220 number, which is very frustrating because when you tell me that the guy's going to have one of the worst quarterback performances of all time, he's going to have like 60 yards through 3 quarters. Oh, and by the way, the under doesn't hit. That's a little frustrating. What do you mean if he didn't hit it? Like, you should have not. He had the worst game ever. Duh. Why shouldn't he have gone under 220?
Over suggests that you did good.
Yes. He also had 2 touchdowns.
Bad, and he got the over.
Which, by the way, those 2 touchdown passes were like pretty good.
They were pretty good. The first one was pretty impressive. The second was kind of clunky.
Oh, it was clunky. I was just saying like the whole
play. It was a fingernail away from being an incomplete pass.
It's so funny how 2 plays were like the ball just scraped the surface of the grass, and like one of them was incomplete, the other one was upheld as a touchdown. It was very interesting to see how that about game of inches type stuff. But yeah, so our pod didn't hit. It's all good. So but it's funny. I guess this kind of leads us into our kind of next topic, which is our like schedules and stuff like that coming up. Um, I kind of want to like kind of give them like a preview. Next year when we do these pods, we will probably be doing 2 pods a week, maybe a pod and then like a longer one.
During the season?
Yeah, during the season one, because we're gonna be trying to do more of these like these more like over under picks pods, game picks, things like that. The things that we did during the wild card and divisional round and conference championship week. Like, but as you know, when you have an
Or with like
entire slate of
14
games,
games.
it's gonna be a lot of games. So we're gonna be, primarily focusing that content on a specific pod that we'll release separately from the normal pod, which I think, for people who want to hear our takes on those, tons of games coming out, I think it'd be good for you guys to, check that out too. It'll be under the same name. It'll be Birds Coast to Coast. It'll just be, what have you week, whatever pod for bets. So, but no, that'll be something we're going to bring to you guys. We really couldn't do it this offseason or postseason just because there wasn't enough games to do it. So we kind of tacked it on to the end of these, but we really want to envision like 2 separate ones where we talk mainly about the football and then, parlays or games or some sort of bets or something that are more geared towards like, betting lines, things like that. So we can keep track of it just in that one spot. But we got a lot of other things coming up, Tanner, that are approaching. Would you like to give them like a rundown of like what the league schedule looks like and, what they can expect in the coming weeks?
So, as a lot of us know, there is no true off season.
Nope.
Every day there's something. So, how about I go ahead and share because it might be a little bit easier to go over.
There we go.
So, just briefly, so what's today? Today is the 9th. So, obviously, yesterday was the Super Bowl. But, let's see, we got franchise tags. That's on the 17th is when we can start tagging players. We got the combine coming at the end of this month and the beginning of next month. That's going to be fun to talk. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. There's a lot. To me, this is the point where we start to learn a lot about the prospects, where we just get to like get nerdy and get sweaty and just start learning the names and height, weight, speeds of guys. Let's see what else. We got the new league year starting on March 11th. That's always fun. That's when you can start signing guys to free agent deals. Sometimes the annual league meeting's interesting. Don't we talk about like potential like rule changes and stuff like that? Points of emphasis, for the league. So there could be some good stuff there. We got a new head coach, so that's important for us here on the 6th. We got clubs can start beginning off-season workouts if you have a new head coach, so that relevant to the Cardinals. Let's see. Here's some. There's some draft deadlines, whether it's like interviewing guys and additional testing. The big one, we got the NFL draft in late April. That's probably it might be my favorite time of the year since the playoffs aren't very relevant for us.
Dude, the draft is the best time of year. The draft is like the personification of hope for every team. I mean, only one team can win the Super Bowl every year, so there's hope abound in the draft.
It's cheesy, man, but like this Super Bowl, I know there wasn't any juice for us, but like you had 2 teams who had first and second year coaches and quarterbacks, and they were big free agent spenders.
Yeah,
like turnarounds don't have to be 5 years. Like you can turn it around relatively soon with enough luck, with enough good decisions, roster building, and good enough coaching. So I don't know, like that's what I appreciated the most about this Super Bowl. And then so after the draft, now we're getting into May. There's a couple like there's mini camps here and there, a couple like training camps and in the later summer. So a little bit more of a dead period in the dog days of summer. But we'll still have a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll do maybe like divisional breakdowns, kind of taking a deeper dive into each division and learning more about, each team and where they are and what to expect. Because sometimes, the national guys aren't always going to talk about the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Same with the Arizona Cardinals. So I do think during those dog days of summer days that, we might have opportunities to do some deeper dives in other teams. We'll do some kind of miscellaneous topics, maybe do some rankings, you know, kind of just freeball it a little bit
Yeah,
until
yeah,
until August. August is when the preseason kicks off, and to me, that's when it's like, okay, this is real. Like
yeah.
we're starting the season soon.
Yeah, we got so much content coming this summer. I mean, just from like being around sports media and watching it and consuming it for so many years. I mean, there's so many ideas that I've wanted to kick the tires on myself and try, with a podcast with Tanner. So this is going to be really exciting to see how we can explore that, on this platform together. But yeah, the NFL season is just chock full of so many things. And, I kind of wanted to jump in on the combine, but the combine is like, it's one of my favorite times of year. I mean, I used to take off school to watch the combine. So it was something that was really like fun to watch, and just watch 40 times go by, and and just see all those wonderful gauntlet drills where you see the receivers go boom boom boom. Oh man, I'm telling you, man, that gets me pumped up, man. Even in the middle of March, it gets me pumped up for football, which is crazy because it's still like 8 months, like 6 months away. But no, it's one of my favorite times of year, and that just is like the unofficial like kickoff of draft season. And again, if you don't know me and Tanner, we are quite big draft guys. Like, we dive in, and you know what? Like, you may not be a fan of the Eagles or Cardinals. You may not even be a fan of the draft, but you know what? By listening to us, you will at least go into the NFL draft knowing a little bit about these guys who are about to get drafted. So that way, when you're watching that night, or even if you don't, and you find out your team picked a guy, you'll be like, hey, you know what? John and Tanner talked about that guy. He might be pretty good, So, that's why we're here. We know like not everyone has time to dig into these paragraphs and watch film, and as we call it paragraph season because all the mock drafts we read. But a lot of people don't have all that time, but that's why we're here. We want to do that kind of research for you and give you guys what we think is the most important stuff to kind of keep up with. And the draft is really fun. It's one of the best nights of the year. Really looking forward to it. And just we have a lot in store, and we're gonna also bring in some special guests at some point. So don't feel as though it's just going to be me and Tanner talking to you. There'll probably be some special guests at some point during the summer, but we'll keep that.
We'll have a Tanner John and Friends episodes.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to bring in a lot of people as, like, I guess, guest correspondents.
A lot of diverse opinions.
Yeah, tons of diverse opinions. So
I want my opinions to be challenged. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want mine challenged. I'm right. No, I'm just kidding. No, so I mean, it's gonna be really fun. But I mean, with that, Tanner, is that it? I mean, should we jump into our extra point?
I think now is as good time as ever.
All right, let's do it.
The extra point.
I love that. Gosh, that yeah. I mean, that dude, that is just like quintessential PTI. Like 5:45 in the afternoon, just came home from school. Love that little soundbite. Oh my God, where's Tony Kornheiser? All right, but anyway, okay. So extra point. My extra point of the week. I was at a professional development. For those who don't know, I'm a teacher. I teach third grade, and we were doing a math professional development. I guess they don't trust us to teach math. I guess they don't think we know math and multiplication, but no, I'm just kidding. But no, they teach us like different ways to teach it and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. And we were doing like different ways to represent problems on different, I guess using different like forms, different number lines, different gridded responses, things like that. And he was really interesting when he started talking about numbers, and he was saying like, oh, well, you can flip a number line and show numbers are going up and numbers are going this way. And you want to make sure the kids are well versed on using a number line. And I was thinking to myself, like, number lines are weird. Like, when you think of number lines, you think of like on the positive side, you think of numbers getting bigger on the right side, and then they get smaller going left, or vice versa. You could have numbers going up on a number line or going down. But then I thought to myself, numbers don't go in directions. They don't. Like why can't the positive numbers go left? Why can't they go like what we assign that as value, right? Like we determine that. Like no, and we could say like the numbers get larger as they go down, but we don't say that. We said numbers are going up. I don't know. You're an accountant. like we assign value.
Sure, as a number increases, going left.
But why do they go up? Why is it?
Like essentially what we're saying is up is bigger than down.
I'm just saying up and down and left and right are all the same. If you put yourself in space, like you ever hear that thing about like how we see the Earth's map as like this one solid thing, or like it's like the quintessential classic image of the Earth is shown, but you could literally just flip it upside down and still the exact same thing. There's no directionality to space. You know what I mean? So like if you go to
If you're
outer,
an astronaut and you're looking at Earth, and then you flip upside down, like
it's still Earth.
you're not technically upside down. You are still like you're just it's like a different perspective.
When you
But you're
get to
not
outer
either
space,
up
there
or
is no such
down.
thing as up, down, okay, or left or right. You're just further from Earth. Okay, so
The
it's up in
direction
relation.
is just a social construct.
Yes, it's a social construct. So when you say, "Oh, those numbers are going up," are they? Like, well, what do you mean they're going up? Like, who determines what up is? They're getting larger. Like, you can say they're getting larger. I don't know. I'm telling you. Look, I
Why
said it was.
up or right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, who determined that
Someone
numbers
could have
getting?
decided, okay, like the graphs where it's like,
Yeah.
you know, you're going like you got
Why
the
is it?
x-axis
Yeah.
represents one
Why?
thing and the y-axis represents something
Exactly.
else. And so as both increase in value, you're going up and right. And
Exactly.
if both go down, you're left and down.
But what's
And
stopping
then
us from just flipping it? There's really no. It doesn't.
maybe we
Values
talk
are.
about this.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, you know what? But hey, like I said before we got on, I had a stupid one, and I delivered. I delivered. I delivered my. Like, I had my Arby's one. Now I got my numbers don't go up. Good one, John. Good one. All right,
Yeah,
what's
no,
yours?
I mean, I
No,
love stuff like
no.
that.
You got you're probably like this is
I love like
jerk.
origin stuff. Like, who decided? Like, who came up with this saying? Like, it's like we say it, we don't really think twice about it, but someone decided this is kind of what it means when this happens, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
someone said, you know what? Up is more, and right is more. Like, up is more than down, and we just went with it.
Well, exactly. Like you can even think of it like this. Like if you would say like how far deep is something, right? Or how deep is the Mariana Trench? Like I don't know, say like 40 miles or something. Well, that means it's 40 miles down, but it's larger. Like the further you go down, you get a larger number. So I don't know, but you don't think about it. All right, it's something that popped in my head. All right, what's your extra point?
Would you rather live in
Oh,
0 degrees or 100 degrees? I mean, I don't have to sound condescending. I may be more qualified to answer this question than you.
Are you moving to Alaska? because that's what you would choose between. I don't know.
You want me to give me what my thought process was?
No. You know what? Can I guess it? Can I
Yeah.
guess it? Because I think you've told me your rationale behind this.
Okay.
You've told me once.
I didn't know I've talked to you about this actually.
Oh, you told me your social security number. No, I'm just kidding. Good luck. No, I've you told me once that you said you can add as many layers as you want, but you can only get so naked, if that makes sense. If it's hot, like you can only get it's like that you've told me that once. You've told me that once. And if you're gonna apply that logic to like how you feel in a room, then I don't know how you wouldn't apply that logic to where you live if it's temperature based as well. Was I right?
I have said that before.
Oh, okay, but it wasn't this logic.
I'm not sure I had lived in Arizona at that point.
All right. Well, what do you got?
Right now, I actually like that logic makes sense. Like you can only take off so many clothes to cool off before it's what you are. But you can, if you're cold, you can keep layering up. Like I do understand that logic. But I'm going to change to 100 degrees. And here's why.
Okay.
I know my skin complexion, that may be surprising. But my thought is, what can you do in 0 degrees?
It's pretty barren out there. I mean, it's now when you say it's 0 degrees, do you mean like it's always going to be 0 and it's always going to be 100, or are you just like
Yeah,
average? What are we
and
doing?
my hypothetical is the kind of the constant temperature.
Yeah, what can you do in 0 degrees? Well, honestly, even logistically, like how would you get like water to your location? Like, water doesn't exist in 0 degrees. So I mean, like running water would be probably frozen, like the pipes. I mean, I'm just thinking too far into this, but like, how would you
Not
get
gonna lie,
water
I
into
didn't
your house?
think that far into it, even though I said 100.
But if
Like,
everything's 0 for the entire time you're there, like yeah, a lot of things are going to be frozen unless things are
honestly,
like,
even
insulated.
if I gave you water, I still struggle with. There's only so much you can do. Like, like transportation's going to be difficult. Um, I mean, I guess if there's snow, you can like play in the snow, but like
I think that if you
you
look at
can't.
like population centers, it's probably like there's probably some places in like Siberia that are probably near 0 degrees, as like a year
They're
average.
not habitable.
Yeah,
Like
they're not habitable, and I think you see that the places that are closer to 100. I mean, look at Phoenix. It's like one of the most populated cities
Phoenix
in the world.
Metro. Phoenix
Yeah,
Metro is the fifth most populated city in the
so you're
country.
basically comparing a Phoenix
People
metro
survive,
to like
and it's only growing. So
insert.
my argument is, look,
Yeah,
I'm not one to just like lay out in the sun and bake. However, like people do like go to the pool, they go to the beach. I don't know if the beaches ever get 100, but like, out here we go rafting, like salt river rafting. That's fun. I've become best friends with, I call them my sun shirts, or like my swim shirts. Look, I may have been made fun of in high school if I ever wore it, but like I'm not in high school anymore, so I don't care what people think. I,
best
I'm
part of growing
I'm
up.
here to like not get skin cancer.
Oh,
Um, I'll wear them. Like I don't care.
nerd.
I have no shame. Um, you can still do stuff in 100. Some people even like 100 degrees. So I don't know. I just feel like the activities you can still do stuff.
No,
You can still
absolutely.
like get you know. Are you like worried about getting in a car accident because it's 100 degrees? No, like you just turn your AC on every day and you get to work and it's a comfortable ride. Like I just feel like your life can, as I live in Arizona. I live in it's 100 degrees from what, early to mid May to at a point in October.
Wow.
Like life doesn't stop. We still like operate. But life stops when it's 0 degrees.
Oh, and yeah, look at
I
the
can't
cities
just
that are
go
like at zero
to a
degrees. There's
friend's
like no
house
one
at
lives
zero.
there.
If you don't live in my neighborhood, I might not be able to get to you. Like power goes out in 0 degrees. So yes, I'm actually very impressed you remembered my theory about like take it off clothing. But like I don't know, I'm like an adult now. I gotta like work. There are no more snow days. Uh I just don't see how you can operate in 0 degrees.
No, yeah, the way you lay it out, I mean, 0 degrees. I mean, I can't think you could find a comparable city like a Phoenix that's like as like the opposite of like cold. It's like I don't know if you'd be able to find like a super cold Phoenix. Like
Well,
I
okay,
don't I
well,
don't think those
like
exist.
even if you think of like the coldest cities, like maybe New York, it's not zero.
No, no. I mean, they still
You
they
know,
get they hit 100 in the summer. Like they have hot spots.
the job had just started before they told us the process of why they chose Tempe to grow, and it came down to a handful of cities, one of them being Minneapolis. And they said, "We like Minneapolis; it's got a lot of good qualities about it, but it snows a lot, and we don't want to have to worry about business shutting down because of snow days. You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about that here in Tempe." So, I mean, just from a business perspective, it makes more sense to be warmer.
No,
And then
absolutely.
we can talk about like the energy side of it, and what solar opportunities there are here and whatever. But like Phoenix is growing, like people are moving here. So I don't know. I mean, they figured it out so far.
I love these. I love these extra points because like I'm glad you introduced the would you rather's. because like that's such a good way to like, get the conversations going. I was wondering which one of us would start with start with the would you rathers, but I'm glad someone finally broke that ice, because like it's such a good way to start, talking about different weird things. It's great. So that was the extra point, guys. We got a lot coming up next week too, as like a quick little preview of next week. Obviously, we really didn't get a chance to discuss the season week to week with you guys, since we kind of started like around Wild Card week. But we decided to kind of put like a Birds obituary, Birds coast to coast obituary of the Cardinals and Eagles season. We're gonna be laying some flowers at the gravestones of both the Eagles and Cardinals season, and just kind of give a quick little sermon of how their seasons
Pay
went.
our respects.
Pay our respects to their teams, and see, exactly what went wrong. And, if you want to hear the full breakdown of exactly like what our opinions of and where we think the seasons went wrong for both our teams, I think it'd be a really great listen, because we really have not covered as much as we would wanted to at this point, just for sake
We
of
started
brevity.
in the middle of the playoffs, so like
Yeah,
timing
just
of
for
all
the
this
sake
is
of
crazy.
brevity, like I wanted to jump right into playoff reaction, and I think that was kind of the best thing to do, because like that's what everyone was wanting to listen to. I mean, what happened with the Birds playoff loss? So, like, but yeah, there's a lot of details into that season that are really important, as with the Cardinals. I mean, we have a lot of things to talk about that we just never got the chance to, because the playoffs kind of took precedent. So we want to kind of start off our off-season podcast series with, I guess, a rerun of what happened last year, and we're really looking forward to talking to each other about this. And we really hope you guys pay attention, and, be on the lookout, because we are on TikTok now. I don't know if you guys are big on TikTok, but we've been posting TikToks frequently, almost daily on the TikToks. But they're highlights, they're quick updates. I posted a Stoutland update. Tanner posted a Nate Hackett update that wasn't included in any of the pods. So if you want exclusive content that we may not even get to or cover in the pod or before the pod comes out, be sure to check us out on TikTok, because there's a lot of things going on that platform. A lot of creativity, like gets a lot of eyeballs, and a lot of conversation gets started in the comments. So be sure to find us on TikTok as well. I know me and Tanner have had a blast making them. And of course, check us out, because our schedule is also changing, our pod upload schedule. So Tanner, would you like to kind of give him an update on when we be posting from here on out?
The goal is to try to record on a Monday and have the podcast published on a Monday night.
Yeah.
So, you should have something ready for you for a Tuesday morning drive to work, or
Yeah,
whenever you decide. I mean, you got a week, I guess.
Yeah, and that gives us time to kind of like get, any sort of short form content out throughout the week. So we're not like in like weird middle grounds where it's like, oh, it happened on a Monday, but we have a pod tomorrow, so we might not want to hold on to that until the next day.
Like last week, we had some like, Stoutland retiring, and, Hackett got hired the day after we recorded. And so,
exactly.
And so it gave us an opportunity on like TikTok to give like quick reactions, but
yeah, it's real fun. But thank you for following us on Spotify, YouTube, all those other places, because that's where we want to direct those views to, because of course you want to hear the whole thing, and we want to hear your guys' thoughts on all of what we have. So just be on the lookout for all the new stuff that we got coming on this coming weekend for the off season. And I guess that's all we got. Tanner, you ready to wrap up?
Let's do it.
All right, man. Well, that was another episode of Birds Coast to Coast. Thanks for joining us, guys. Have a good one. Episode 5. Woo! 5 more, 50 to go. Let's get it, guys. Have a good one.